Hello, moviegoers, and welcome to another edition of Have You Seen It? I'm your host, Denise, and before I get to my review, I've got to tell you who my favorite actor is this week. My favorite actor is Jennifer Aniston, and she's my favorite actor this week because when I was looking for a movie to really describe her talent, I came across Horrible Bosses, a movie of which I saw, obviously, when it first came out. I laughed and hollered and screamed throughout the entire movie. And I think I hollered and screamed the most because Jennifer Aniston played a horrible boss who relentlessly sexually harassed her dental assistant, played by Charlie Day. And it was incredible to watch those clips all over again. So Jennifer Aniston is my favorite actor this week. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my review. And my review is from the movie The Devil Wears Prada 2. And this movie is the sequel to the very, very popular movie, The Devil Wears Prada, starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are our main characters. They have all returned for this sequel. And there are a few new faces in this movie, one being Simone Ashley from, you know her from the Bridgerton series, and Lucy Liu. And there are a whole lot of other people, but I won't name them, but there are some other returning characters as well. So, in this sequel, this movie had a running time of about 2 hours and 49, 50-ish minutes. For me, this movie was okay. And I say it is an okay movie because personally, I think this could have been a Netflix, Apple TV, Paramount movie easily. But of course, you know, you have the sequel and it's got to be shown in the theaters first. One of the problems that I had with the movie was the character played by Meryl Streep. Miranda is the character's name. In that first installment, she was off the chain, a horrible, horrible boss, no pun intended. Just, you know, no one could please her. No one could do anything right. She was just unpleasant and treated, you know, Anne Hathaway's character like pure trash every opportunity she got. But she did it masterfully in that first movie. I mean, she was scary. But in this movie, it seemed as though she was a bit watered down. I mean, she still had some of those snarky moments, those snide remarks, those side-eye moments. But, you know, I couldn't help but, you know, as I was watching the movie, I'm like, I know you got a good one in you. I know you got a good one. Come on, come with it. And it just, for me, it didn't feel like the same Miranda, you know, and of course the movie is 20 years old. So maybe as a character, she's a little tired. But Anne Hathaway's character, she plays Andy. She's no longer at Runway because that's where the movie ended. And she is living her true journalistic life. And so when the movie starts, Andy is at a banquet or an award ceremony, sitting at a dinner table with fellow colleagues from whatever, magazine, she writes for, and she wins an award. But just before she goes up to the podium to receive her award, everyone at her table receives a text. And this text has unpleasant news. And so once she receives her award, instead of receiving it and being happy and glad and proud of her accomplishments, she kind of goes off on a rage or a rampage, if you will, about what that text message said. So, when you see the movie, you'll know the gist. So she ends up back at Runway because now, she's unemployed. And when you see the movie, it kind of, the reason that she's unemployed is kind of familiar to what we're seeing now in a politically strange environment where people are losing their jobs and being downsized and being fired, and for reasons that are not always explained or fully understood, but that's the predicament she is in, and that's how she ends up at Runway again. And so, of course, upon her arrival, she's, the happy, optimistic Andy. Hey, everybody, that I was working with before, some of the people are still here. There's some new faces, but she's all gung-ho and ready to dive in. And of course, she gets the Miranda treatment. And so she has evolved and she's gained more confidence. She is, she's standing on her own 2 feet and she's living her life and doing okay. And our character, Nigel, played by Stanley Tucci, is solid, just as he was in the movie, in the first installment. So he's the same character, very loyal. He is always on point. He's always got his stuff together, and he does an excellent job as the fashion designer, making sure that the fashion part of Runway is still running. But of course, just like in the first installment, there's some behind the scenes shenanigans, scheming going on that you have to, peel back the onion, so to speak, to figure out what is going on. And our new character, Lucy Liu, she plays the role of an extremely, extremely successful and wealthy woman in the fashion world. And she is so famous and so good at what she does. She is a bit of, a recluse, whereas, she's not out and about. She's not out in the streets, but people want to know her story and how she, became this wealthy woman. And no one's been able to get that story until our girl Andy steps into that role of trying to secure that interview. And of course, it's something that Miranda doesn't think that she can accomplish, because Runway is not the fashion mogul magazine that it was 20 years ago. It has suffered a little bit as well. It's, a lot of the magazine is now digital, so you really don't have to go out and buy it on a newsstand. And the articles, you can read them online. So a lot of Runway itself has been knocked down a peg or two. So that's basically the movie. You have Emily, who's no longer at Runway, but you'll find out why she isn't when you go to see the movie. You find that out a little bit later, but she's still the same kind of, she's still Emily, but she's doing her own thing somewhere else. But the 3 of them do meet up. Miranda and Andy and Emily do meet up at a critical time in the movie where, we're trying to work together, but we're still kind of frenemies, if you will. I did not like the role of Simone Ashley's character. She's the new number one Emily. And I just didn't think that she fit the role as well as Emily Blunt. She's, still got that same persona as Emily Blunt's character had 20 years ago, but she just didn't do it for me. And the number two Emily, who is now played by a man, he didn't do it for me either. So in terms of a movie overall, the best part of the movie was the scenery, the New York City landscape, and all of the hustle and bustle of New York City, and the scenes where they travel to Milan, because there's always a big fashion to do going on. So they go to Milan, and then you see the beauty of Italy. But the movie itself, the plot was like, and I really, as I'm sitting there in the movie, I knew going in it was 2 hours, almost 2 hours, and it felt like it, because I wanted more Meryl Streep being the Miranda that she was in the first movie, and it just didn't do it for me. So it's an okay movie. You don't have to rush to the theater unless you really want to see all the fashion. But once it comes on a streaming, you can wait until then. So that is my review. The Devil Wears Prada 2. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my Nailed It. And my Nailed It this week, I'm going to stick with this film, and sticking with the film in terms of fashion. Now, in the movie, of course, the fashion, it's all about women. It's all about everything that they are wearing. And there were a lot of nice outfits, cool outfits. But this time, I focused on Stanley Tucci. And he was a dapper dresser in the first installment, and he has maintained that dapper persona in this film. So if you are a gentleman who is trying to figure out your whole fashion life, look at Stanley Tucci. The outfits that he put together for himself were incredible. Just beautiful. So he is my Nailed It for this week. All right, folks, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. And remember, I am available on BlueSky at HYSI. Okay, moviegoers, you know what to do. I need you to see a movie because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.